What is up, everybody? Welcome on into Alarm Fantasy Football. I'm your host, Andrew Cooper. Alongside me, Howard Bender. Another chaotic, nonsensical week of football in the books. So, time to get it cleaned up. Time to get the waiver wires running. We've combed through the data. Still waiting on a little injury information. Bender, have you gotten anything on David Njoku or DJ Moore yet? I've been looking and I got nothing.
I got nothing, right? DJ Moore hospitalized last night after the game. They didn't give any kind of indication as to what it was at all. So I haven't heard anything about him there. I know that Emeka Egbuka was having additional tests today. Yeah, right. MRI came through, and I guess it was either inconclusive or they just didn't like what they saw with his hamstring. So additional tests today, which kind of, to me, that's a little on the concerning side because you never want to hear things like, torn off the bone or anything like that. So we're still listening on that. And then, no word on any kind of a timetable yet for David Njoku, which, you know what, man, I wasn't into him early on in the season, and I thought everybody was overblowing the whole thing, but Harold Fannin could probably be one of the best waiver wire pickups in fantasy football for if Njoku misses time.
Right.
If Njoku misses time, the upcoming schedule for the Cleveland Browns, because we know that Dylan Gabriel sits there and he just, he hits the tight end as often as he can. What is it? It's Miami, the Jets, the Patriots, and then the Ravens. 4 teams that are all in the bottom 10 of DVOA against the tight end. So that's like a 4-game stretch right there that could be huge if you ended up grabbing Harold Fannin.
Not to mention, then it goes Vegas, and then the 49ers just lost Fred Warner for the season. Like, the schedule's actually really lining up. So, especially if Njoku gets put on the IR today, those are the 2 big ones I'm looking for are DJ Moore and Dave Njoku, because if those guys get put on the IR, Luther Burden and Harold Fannin are guys that you got to go out and grab, because Burden has looked good in his limited role. If he were to get elevated into a full-time role in an offense that seems to want to throw it around, that could be big time. I'm surprised Adam Schefter usually has his weasels like crawling around the floor in these hospitals looking for clipboards and stuff. I'm surprised he hasn't gotten any information on DJ Moore yet and what's going on there. I went back to watch just the end of that game to see if I could notice anything. I'm wondering if maybe it could be they're checking like for a lacerated kidney or a spleen or something, because he fell really hard on his midsection towards the end of that game.
So he took a real crunching hit too to the gut as well. So
could be something like that. So we'll keep an eye on that for you guys. If any news drops during the show here, we'll let you know. As always, we're going to go through, hit on each position, give you our takes, break down why we like these guys, who we're stashing, who we're streaming, who we're starting. Also, we're going to jump in and hit on your questions. Before we get to any of that, Bender, any guys that popped off for you? Any guys let you down this week?
I had some good stuff there. Obviously, Drake May was fantastic for me this week. I play in a league called the Greenwich Street Tavern League, which is a high stakes league.
Chris Vaccaro.
What's that?
It's a New York crew, right? Like,
it's the New York crew. Chris Vaccaro, Adam Ronis, they run the league, and it's a $320 entrance fee. The payouts go to like top record, top point getter, things like that, and then obviously into the playoffs and stuff. So, it's one of the leagues that I definitely pay attention to, intently, and I've got Drake May in there, so he did a great job of helping me out. Josh Jacobs, Ted McMillan, Mrs. McMillan, Tetaroa. But yeah, those were when you're looking for the players who, you want the consistent production from them. I mean, you obviously want consistent production from everybody as much as you possibly can. But, I'll take the ups and downs with a Bill Krosky merit as long as I know that I'm getting my stable point totals from like Jacobs and guys like Drake May. So those are the three that really popped off for me the most. Again, just kind of helping everything along. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tout Rico Dowdle again. We did that last week, and he did it. He
Right.
did it against Dallas. Ooh.
Yeah.
What about you?
Same with Kendrick Bourne too. Like we had them in the streamers article, but you were starting those guys if you had them and you were smart. So definitely loving that. Sam Darnold streamed me in. He helped me out a lot there. Raiders DST actually worked, and I think that proves not that the Raiders DST is good because they're not. It proves that whoever Tennessee is playing, just get them out there. They fired their coach Callahan yesterday, as well as firing. Actually, they haven't fired their coordinator yet, but they elevated Mike McCoy to the new coach there. In my big hometown league, Bender, I have Drake May. I have Christian McCaffrey. I'm 5-1. And this morning I woke up and brushed out my eyes and opened up my phone. And then what's the first thing I did? Clicked Rashi Rice's name and moved him into my starting lineup. 5-1 in this league's been going on 25 years, and I just took a screenshot and I sent it to the boys. I said, now you're all in big trouble.
You're right. Like that Billy Madison moment there, where you're just slinging dodgeballs at everybody.
Yeah,
absolutely. I
will
tell you what, one of the guys, it wasn't so much of who did what for me in a good way, but who did poorly for somebody else in another way. In my primary auction league, which is the Huddle, which is like the old guys from the KFFL, USA Today. It's the Bonini brothers, and this was a league that was passed down to me. Man, I want to say it was probably sometime around 2010, 2011. Jeff Erickson from RotoWire passed this league down to me when I was working at RotoWire, because he was just super saturated. And I've been in this league, for forever, right? I mean, old school heads like Dave Richard and Dave Donos, they have come and gone from there. And, there's a couple of us like me and the Bonini boys who just kind of coast through each and every way. I was 5-0 going into last night's games, and I was like, yeah, this is probably not going to hit for me like I wanted to, because the other guy had Josh Allen going. And I was like, I've got like a 15-point lead here, or no, it was like a 21-point lead. 21-point lead. He had Josh Allen to go, and that was it. And Allen got him like 19 points. It's the only league that I'm still undefeated in. So 6-0, that made me feel pretty damn good.
That's nice. I love that. I did have some core players that disappointed. Some guys I'm not super worried about, like Michael Pittman. I'm not that worried about.
What a stinker of a game that was, right?
I rewatched that game. You know what's crazy is that, and I was like watching Pittman. Dude, Pittman had an incredible game run blocking. Dude, he was pancake blocking people. He was just knocking guys on their ass. And I'm like, okay, well, it's not like he wasn't out there. It's just he was a decoy on the Josh Downs touchdown, brought two guys with him, and Downs is wide open. Like, he played good football, just didn't translate. That's going to happen sometimes. So it's not like it's when their snap share gets hurt. That's when I get scared.
Right.
And
yeah.
Kenneth Walker, that's the one that really it's bothering me, because clearly they like it doesn't matter what we see, or like what we know about this guy, how he grades out. Like, they clearly like Charbonnet for specific roles, and those roles are the high leverage ones for fantasy, the pass downs and the goal line. So yeah, Kenneth Walker, there's spots where I just have to hold my nose and start him, but I would love to see more from him. And again, Kyle Pitts, that one was tough. I think the Bills, as was pointed out to me, might not just be Matt Milano over there. That might just be a tough matchup for tight ends, but I'm okay with him. So yeah, not a bad week after all, and we're looking good here. We see you guys' questions in the chat. First one here, I can't put it on the screen because you were in before us. Noah Hartman says, love to know some early duds that you're dropping versus sticking with at this stage. I mean, just a couple there. Like, I'm going to stick with Pitts, Pittman. You're still going to hang on to Kenneth Walker. Still going to hang on to guys like Travion Henderson and RJ Harvey. Anybody that was always going to be a stash to me is still being stashed. But there are some fringe guys that I've been willing to part with. Michael Wilson. I mean, I guess we have to see what's going on with Marvin Harrison, but had a decent amount of him. He's gone for me. Trying to think of who else. What other
Well,
guys
I'll,
at
I'll
this
tell you
stage?
what, Mojo jumped in a little early also, and he asked a question of, is it time to drop Jerry Judy? And that's a name right there
Yeah,
that I think that you can definitely drop. Jerry Judy's a guy who, he's just not seeing the target share. A lot of Dylan Gabriel just leaning on the tight ends is what we've seen here. Not to mention the fact that Quinshon Judkins is getting, super worked up there. So, I think he's there. Where are you at with Jawan Jennings? Because now the report is that he's got like 5 cracked ribs.
yeah, the ribs. Yeah, on top of multiple other injuries, he's got these ribs. So yeah, he's getting. The thing was, until Pearsall comes back and or Ayuk, I'm still going to hang on to him just to see. But yeah, I mean, like ribs, your bones just don't heal that quickly, so they're probably going to use him sporadically. A lot of guys named Juwan are kind of getting there for me. Like I'm at the point where Juwan Johnson, I just look around at the
Mm-hmm.
Wallers and guys like even guys like Mason Taylor and Theo Johnson that had bad matchups this week, which the Giants are good versus the tight end, and the Eagles are maybe the best team in the league versus the tight end. Theo Johnson has another bad matchup this week, but like I'm starting to look at guys like that. And Juwan, I'm having a hard time holding on to Juwan Johnson where I have him. So that's a guy that's going away. A lot of things are like speculative players that I added that like Sean Tucker, like I'm never going to start that guy. So I'm moving on from those guys. Where are you at with this is a divisive player right here is that now that Rashee Rice is back in the leagues where I had Rashee Rice, I added Hollywood Brown in like all of them. And now he just scored 2 touchdowns. Bye-bye, right? John and Pemba. Johnny loves Hollywood Brown. And this week he was like adamant on starting him. And I was like, you know what? Let's go. Let's do it on the Sunday show. And he scored 2 touchdowns. But like, I just don't know what his role is, right? What's he going to do now?
Well, that's the thing is that now what we're looking at here is Rashee Rice comes back and he's going to get a lot of the work. And, so Juju Smith-Schuster is just going to be completely phased out. Hollywood will get some play here. He'll still take some snaps, but when you're looking at, sitting in front of him in the target pecking order and you're looking at Rashee Rice, you're looking at Travis Kelce, you're even looking at Xavier Worthy, that it's like, really, how much is there to go around? One of the things that we're going to talk about tonight on the Fantasy Alarm Show is possible trade candidates. And I'll tell you what, man, if the Chiefs acquire themselves a good, strong running back, and I mean like a guy who can handle the every down work, a guy who can handle the passing downs and stuff like that, that's another target that'll end up going in front of Marquise Brown. So yeah, I mean that's a guy who I'm not going to dump him just yet because I mean let's face facts. We'll cover this today, but what's sitting out on your waiver wire that's like
Yeah.
anything exciting? Are you going to drop Hollywood Brown to add Cam Johnson from the Buccaneers? Right? I mean, is Cam Johnson even the guy? Like that's the funny thing about it. So
Yeah.
there are guys.
The big problem for the third wide receiver on a team like the Chiefs in reality is actually Noah Gray because they insist on playing Noah Gray 50% of the snaps minimum, which means that you got 50% of the snaps available because Kelsey's not coming out, Worthy's not coming out, Rice isn't coming out. You're going to have a running back in most plays. So it's like it just really caps that extra guy. So Tyquan Thornton, all those guys, smell you later for me. So those are some examples of who we're ditching. Let's jump in and hit some questions here, and then we'll give some of our own takes. Not a good morning. I feel you on that, brother. But hey, we're gonna pick it up and get it going, man.
Well, if Krosky Merritt didn't, fumble the football at the end, it wasn't even his fault. That was Jaden Daniels' fault there at the end of the
yes, it was
of that game. It was very, very upsetting moment there for sure. So
yeah, that one definitely assigned to Jaden Daniels because he didn't have it. He didn't have it. Trade away Wandell for Zay Flowers. I'd say yeah. I mean, if you're not starting Wandell right now, definitely. Like if Wandell's a player on your bench, I'd absolutely rather have Flowers stashed up for when Lamar comes back. Right? Wandell is.
I mean, I kind of feel like it's in all honesty, it's like 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Because who else is Jackson Dart throwing to? And will the Giants be in a same situation as the Ravens? I think the Ravens actually, considering their upcoming schedule, they got the bye week this week, and then the next 2 weeks after that, they've got like Chicago and I think Miami. So I mean, like, that's, Derrick Henry's gonna be getting worked up there. I mean, how much work is really Zay Flowers gonna get? At least Wandale is gonna be, targeted on the other.
Sure.
I think you're kind of
That's
spinning
that's
your
why
wheels.
if Wandale's in your lineup, then keep him, right? Because
Yeah.
he's going to be in your lineup for the next few weeks. I think the Giants are interesting matchup this week. We talk about guys like Jackson Dart and Cam Scatabo that like to try and run through brick walls. They're getting a brick wall this week with the Denver Broncos. Man, that's a Super Bowl caliber defense.
Yeah.
To put it lightly. I mean, that's a tough crew. So we'll have to see what goes on there. Chris, what's happening,
It
brother?
was the worst game for the Jets that morning on Sunday.
Oh, it's tough,
So
dude.
horrible.
Tough to watch. And the way they bottled up Fields, I think that's what they're going to do to Dart too. They were spying him. They were kind of challenging him to run it if he wanted to, and then they would just be all over him when he did. Happy everybody in the 1-5 club. I do have a 1-5 team. Trying to remember which one it is, but it's the one of my hardest leagues. It's in Pemba's friends from home. That I play with, 14-team league, and it's a keeper league. And boy, my keepers just have not. My team is struggling. I have Patrick Mahomes too, the number 1 QB in fantasy, and my team is still struggling. So we'll see. I lost CeeDee Lamb. I lost a bunch of. I have tons of injury. I lost CeeDee Lamb, Bucky Irving, like a bunch of.
Dude, I'm 0-6 in the FSGA league. I started my first 2 picks were Malik Neighbors and Brock Bowers.
I mean, that's nothing you can really do about that, dude. That's just so much draft capital gone. I'm worried about Chuba with the way Dowdle's playing. Hard to keep him off the field, but also I don't think a player should lose his job due to injury. Well, Chris, it used to always be that way. Every coach always said you don't lose your job to injury, and we know that's not true. So we'll have to see. I think both are going to play a little bit, but I think Chuba's going to go back to being the starter. $33 million they gave Chuba,
Well, he's definitely going back to being the starter. That's the thing. Does it give them a little bit of added flexibility to give, a 30% snap share to Rico Dowdle? Sure, right? If it's a matter of staying healthy. But Dave Canales is an old school guy, right? He likes his one running back, does not need the platoon situation in there. So, I think, Chuba comes back. I don't even know if Chuba's going to be back here for week 7. But I mean, here's the thing. And this is kind of one of the things that I talked about on the show yesterday. If you subscribe to SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio, just the opening segment of yesterday's show, I'm talking about context, right? When you watch certain guys, Rico Dowdle did what he did. Kamani Vidal did what he did. Kendrick Bourne did what he did. I won't take anything away from those guys at all. But Rico Dowdle did what he did against who? Miami and Dallas. Arguably 2 of the worst run defenses in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Kamani Vidal, right? Here's a guy who was cut by the Chargers in the offseason. No other team signed him, right? 31 other teams had the opportunity to sign him. Nobody wanted him. He signed with the practice squad. And after the injuries, he got play. And what did he do? He dominated against who? Miami.
Yeah.
Kendrick Bourne.
Right.
Phenomenal efforts here the last 2 weeks. Absolutely. Because he's Mac Jones's boy. Mac Jones is looking for him. They've got history, 3 years in New England together, working together on his, when he brought him over here immediately. That's why they brought Kendrick Bourne back. So when you sit there and you look at what these guys have done over the last week or two, always make sure that there is context. You don't think Dave Canales knows that Rico Dowdle crushed 2 of the absolute worst teams? What do you think Chuba Hubbard would have done to Miami? Right. Or to Dallas for that matter? So you always got to make sure that there's context in there when you're talking about certain players who everybody's like, I can't even imagine how much fab is going to be spent this week on Kamani Vidal. And I'll tell you what, I think the Colts destroy them. Like Grover Stewart, DeForest Buckner.
It's going to be a problem. Yeah. I'll tell you, I could see it end up being like Bijan and Tyler Algier, where if you get a really positive game script, both these guys, Dowdle's getting 10 touches, right? And Chuba's getting 15, 20, and it looks like that. But that's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting it to be Chuba as the guy, and we like this run game, so hopefully it'll continue to be good. You know, tough loss, man. Haskins. Well, probably wouldn't have started Haskins over Derrick Henry personally, but hey, you know what? Sometimes you got to go with with your gut.
Yeah, well, see, no, no,
Waivers.
no. Go back to that. Go back to that for a second here, because that's actually, I mean, think about this. I would never have started Haskins over Henry.
I would have started
Cortland
the other guy.
Sutton, you knew had Sauce Gardner on him, so I would have probably put Lad McConkey in there. Dobbins didn't have a great game. I don't know. Brown, is that Chase Brown,
It
or
doesn't
is
matter
that
which
Hollywood
doesn't
Brown?
it doesn't matter which Brown it is.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Two
Get
out
any
of
Brown.
those three moves you shouldn't have done. Like,
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like, 2 out of those 3 moves you shouldn't have made.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Way she
2
goes.
stocks.
Well, that's why we do the start sit questions in here, and we do them every Thursday and also Sunday morning and also Thursday evening. So, and also in the Discord every single day. So you have a lot of opportunities to ask us those questions if you want to. 2 stocks, we're here for you. Waivers, drop Haskins half PPR, pick up AJ Barner. Haskins isn't necessarily a guy you can't drop. I'm not super excited to pick up AJ Barner. He still every week runs like 60% of the routes. They do like to rotate him with Elijah Arroyo. Outside of the 1 week where he had 7 catches or 7 targets, he's had basically 3. Like just this week, he ran 19 routes and Arroyo ran 15. That's just not enough for me for AJ Barner. So there's better options out there. So you can
I
drop
don't mind the
Haskins.
Gainwell ad. I definitely don't mind the Gainwell ad here.
Gainwell, that's good. Gainwell, that I do.
Right? That, like, if you're going to drop Haskins, don't do it to pick up AJ Barner. If you've got, I have Kelsey, stick with Kelsey.
What do you do with Barner? And then Gainwell, he maintained his pass down role even with Jalen Warren back. I mean, this guy's caught 6 passes in back-to-back games. So in full PPR, he's on the streaming radar for us. He's in my streaming article this week because
Thursday night, the Unk Bowl. Have you heard that one yet?
No, I haven't, dude. That's great.
It's Aaron Rodgers versus Joe Flacco on Thursday night. So it's the Unk Bowl.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Waivers, half PPR, any RB should pick up. Some available are Tootin, Gainwell, Ford, Hunt, Spears, Rodriguez. I can drop Haskins. I have Brown, Dobbins, Henry. I mean, you're gonna start Dobbins and Henry at least over all those guys. I still think Tootin is probably the most interesting upside stash. Just because that run game has been pretty good. Travis Etienne is like top 10 in the league in yards from scrimmage. He has the most handcuff appeal. Or I guess actually Gainwell has the most startable value, and he's
got startable value right now. And you know what? I think Spears is somebody that we might want to start kind of eyeballing here. You mentioned that they fired Brian Callahan. I got some bad news for you wearing your Patriots gear right now.
No.
So
the classic bet on the team that fires the coach narrative is back.
Yeah, but it's also, you got to double down on the fact that the Patriots are also playing their 3rd straight road game. And there's a lot of data that says that the team on their 3rd straight road game does not do well.
And when you put the Mike Vrabel return game narrative on there, now you're triple stamping a double stamp here. Now Patriots, we're the hottest team in football until all that bad voodoo fell on them. First place in the AFC East. That's a fact.
Here it comes, the Smugnado coming in from different sides. You got the hot side coming in, you got the cold side coming in.
Vrabel's already on top of it. Did you hear what Vrabel said when they asked him about going to play the Titans again?
No, what did he say? Who are the Titans?
He said there's 2 different folders. There's the folder of things that are interesting, and there's a folder of things that are important. And he goes, that narrative, that's probably in the interesting folder for you guys, but it's not important. So there you go.
Yeah, I don't really think he cares. I mean, that's the thing.
I think he deeply cares.
Oh, do you? Because I think he landed with the Titans to get himself some head coaching experience because he was already slated to be the heir apparent in New England.
I think he wants to. I think like anybody, he's a little nervous and he wants to show up and make it.
He's nervous because he sees what the dad is telling him.
The dad is scary, I will say. But the Titans stink, bro.
I already bet it. Titans +7. And
plus
you know what?
I
also threw a unit on the Titans money line at +290.
At 7.5, I would consider it. Not doing it at 7. Patriots by 50.
Sure. Go for it.
It is 7.5. Some spots. Okay.
If you guys want to know what my favorite bet is on the Sunday morning show, there it is.
Yeah. We're gonna be fine. Patriots to the moon.
Ani Coop.
What's up? Is Brian Robinson droppable? He's just in the same category as all the other handcuffs. Would you rather have So DJ Giddens, I'm starting to worry about his handcuff status. They actually played. Amir Abdullah actually got a couple carries, and Giddens got none this week. Is Brian Robinson the top handcuff right now, the way Christian McCaffrey's playing?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. We're not seeing much out of Isaac Garendo. I don't think. I think that's one of the reasons why they ended up bringing in Robinson was that they felt that Robinson was a guy who could he could play that backup role. It wasn't going to be a problem with it. It wasn't like, I've done so much and whatever. Like Garendo was like pushing for extra snaps because he felt that he deserved it. And Shanahan's like, you're the backup. That's it.
All right. So why don't we take a minute here on this question to jump in and just kind of look at the running back position. Here's how I'm viewing it right now. I'm not dropping like 50% bag on anybody this week, but I am putting in claims just to try and I'm putting in like contingent bids, like a little bit on each guy to try and just get somebody on my bench if I need somebody. And the three guys that I'm going after are Kamani Vidal, just because he did get the lion's share of the work. It's not something you need to go crazy on, in my opinion. Bam Knight, who also we saw Amari DiMercado was benched. Bam Knight got the early down work. Michael Carter got the pass down work, but that skews in Bam Knight's favor on that. And then, as Howard alluded to, Tajay Spears, where we saw a clear split this week. Tony Pollard got the early work. Tajay Spears got the pass work. But in this particular case, this team is probably going to have so many negative game scripts, except for this week when they're going to beat the Patriots, as Bender says. But the most of their other game scripts are going to be bad, and they're going to have to throw a ton. So Tajay Spears is probably going to be out there playing a bunch. And he's a pretty explosive guy and looked pretty good down the stretch last year. So I'm prioritizing the two starters in Vidal and Bam Knight, and then Spears. For streamers, if you're in a standard league, Kendre Miller, virtually guaranteed to get touches all of a sudden on this team. Not getting a ton of targets, but he's getting 7, 8, 9, 10 carries a week. Also in standard, Tyler Algier in any given week, especially if it's a positive game script. He's out there in full PPR. Kenneth Gainwell is a guy, 6 receptions back-to-back. Rodgers does not want to hold on the ball at all. The whole offense is based on just thinking and dunking, so he's an option. The stashes for me, the number one stash this week actually is going to be Isaiah Davis, just because Breece Hall's out there on Instagram doing his thing. So Isaiah Davis is already a handcuff, but now that Breece Hall is like trying to stir the trade pot here, it just gives you just a little bit more incentive to hold a guy like that. And then it's the same guys we've always been looking at. It's Brian Robinson. It's Blake Corum. If anything happens to Kyron Williams because of the high consolidation of snaps, it's still DJ Giddens. If anything were to happen to Jonathan Taylor, God forbid, Giddens is probably the best player there and would have the biggest upside. But they still kind of do have Amir Abdullah. They also have that guy Tyler Goodson. They kind of like for pass downs. But those are probably the top handcuffs. Are there any other handcuffs that like really come to mind as like guys that have no standalone value but would have a really big value if the starter got hurt?
Well, first off, Blake Corum dealing with the ankle issue, and that's actually something that's kind of lingering right now. So maybe keep an eye on that. If you're thinking about stashing him, just understand that, he is dealing with an ankle issue. So maybe Jarquez Hunter does get a little bit of bit of extra play. Not a lot, but maybe just a little bit.
If Corum were to miss time for sure, it would just transfer right to Hunter too. Yeah.
I'm sure people have dropped Tyrone Tracy. And I'll tell you what, I know Cam Scadaboo's getting the majority of the work, but dude, that dude is like, 2 hits away from CTE diagnosis. Yeah. I mean, that dude is, I get it. He's crazy. He's a little nut job there, but you can't lead with your head so much like that and not think that something dangerous is going to happen there. So I would definitely just kind of keep an eye on Tyrone Tracy just as a decent pass catching running back option.
We've seen that before with certain guys, the way they play, it's just crazy. Like Isaiah Pacheco, the way he plays is conducive to him getting hurt. Remember that guy for the Lions? Remember Javid Best? He used to just jump. At the end of every run, he would just jump up in the air. And like his career ended up ending pretty quickly because it's like he's just not taking care of himself out there. Cam Scatterbo is not even thinking about avoiding contact. So yeah, definitely a good stash. I love that one.
What about in Green Bay? You like Emmanuel Wilson
That's
behind Jacobs?
That's tough. Marshawn Lloyd is like a ghost, so I'm not. I would have to have multiple IR spots to even consider him. The thing is with Emmanuel Wilson, he's looked good whenever he gets in there, especially in pass downs. But apparently they do like that kid Chris Brooks too to
Mhm.
take rundowns. But I think Wilson's probably the better handcuff because last year, I mean, at the end of the year, he was coming out and scoring like 30, 20-yard touchdowns whenever he was thrown in there.
Yeah.
Cost me
Jadon Blue, also another one.
Yeah, he's in the honorable mentions in the article as well as a guy where it's like, yeah, you know what? He only got 3 carries this week, but he was active. He's getting carries. He's trending up. So that's what we're thinking for running back. Let's jump back in the chat, see what else here. Waivers. Here we go. Is Whittington the replacement for Puka? Here's how that works. When everyone's healthy, it's Puka and Devontae Adams every snap. Whittington skews more towards like jumbo set, split end stuff, especially if there's any sort of like obvious run situation. And then Tutu Atwell has been like the field stretcher, and they've been rotating. Atwell has a hamstring right now. So if Atwell is out, Whittington's going to pick up a big snap share. And then we're looking at these other guys like Kanata Mumfield to come in and potentially do a little something, but like, don't worry about those guys. Whittington immediately becomes a streaming option if something happens to if Puka does miss this game. And that's even if Atwell is healthy, I think, because he just the role he'd fall into there. So I would love to see more Atwell because of how much I have him, but they've been using Whittington
Right. Got him in that last best ball pick.
Right, which is that's what he's perfect for is best ball because he runs those like deep routes. But Whittington seems to be more of their possession guy.
Yeah.
So that's how they've been viewing it. I can pick up Fannin Jr. and drop Haskins. Yeah, do that. You don't really need to hold Haskins at this stage. They gave both guys kind of an equal shot, and Vidal ran away with it. Best defense to add: Green Bay, Carolina. Let me just pull my
Listen, I'll go Houston and Green Bay are the two defenses that you want to look at. Minnesota probably comes in third for me. You know, Houston's got a great defensive line. I was riding them for the first couple of weeks of the season. They're just I like them a lot. Green Bay's got a decent pass rush there. But yeah, so that's how I'll do. I'll just say Houston, Green Bay, Minnesota for me.
Yeah, I'm there with you. You don't want to be starting, even though they haven't been playing well. I don't want to be starting Minnesota against the Eagles if I can avoid that. Who's Green Bay got this week?
I don't know who Green Bay.
If it's Brisket again, maybe.
Arizona. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, is there much of what's the difference between Kyler Murray and Jacoby Brissett at this point?
Yeah, but they might not have Marv too. Marv left with a concussion. That was a real shame because he was playing his first game in Indianapolis where his dad played.
It's Michael Wilson season.
Could be Zay Jones. Fire up your Zay Jones.
There you go. That's your waiver wire ad, Zay Jones.
Lamb being back this week would be great. Putting Rice in the lineup. It's a good feeling. I have a bunch of Juwan and Henry going. Yep. Henry has just been he didn't even block on a ton of pass plays. That game script was just, they were ripping off massive chunk plays against the Saints and didn't really need to do much. Demario Douglas and Kayshon Boutte were just getting behind everybody. We try not to do starts that sits this early.
He's just saying they start 3 running backs in general.
Okay, cool.
So he's got those guys, wants to know if he should drop the hammer on Vidal. I'm not dropping the hammer on him.
I wouldn't drop it all, but I would throw in a contingent bid, drop in Manon guy, maybe like $20. Somebody's going to overspend.
Yeah, somebody's going to overspend. I would do 20, 25 for Vidal, and then just do a contingency pick, like a $15, $18 on like a guy like Gainwell or Spears after that.
Yeah, our guy John Arrington in the chat. What up, brother? He crushes on the college stuff. Also was ahead of the curve on Tucker Kraft. Give him big credit on that one. So shout out to Dynasty Coach A. Do you think they're just load managing Kenneth Walker? I think it's a combination of load management and also he wasn't around when they installed a brand new scheme. He missed so much of the offseason. Clint Kubiak setting up this offense, and Zach Charbonnet got in there and earned a couple different roles in the goal line in the pass game, and he's holding on to him. So it's as simple as that. Kenneth Walker needs to go out there and make big plays and prove that he doesn't and prove that he belongs on the field every snap. Can we drop Calvin Ridley? He's got a hamstring situation now all of a sudden.
Yeah, I'd like to know a little bit more details on that. Kind of seems like a little bit of a phantom hamstring issue. I mean, they were getting worked early, right, by the Raiders in that game, and it just, they weren't looking Ridley's way that much. So I'm wondering if maybe he's got like a different relationship with Mike McCoy, if maybe McCoy, relies a little bit more heavily on Ridley. I don't know. I'm not sure. It depends, obviously, who you're going to drop him for. I mean, if you're going to drop him for just some chucklehead who's going to sit on your bench, then no, I'd rather have Ridley sit on my bench and hope that maybe he comes out of it.
Yeah, Ridley's name's been floated in a lot of trade rumors. It's funny, dude. Guys like Ridley and Njoku that we want to see get traded, of course they go out and get hurt this week, right? It's like no one ever trades for injured guys unless it's the off season. Like during the middle of the season, no one trades for injured guys. So rooting for him to be healthy. I've also seen you're going to cover it tonight on your show tonight, so I don't know. You'll get into that, but
with what?
With the guys you think could be traded at the NFL level.
Oh yeah.
Tonight,
I mean,
right?
listen.
Yeah.
Please, I'm like praying that Brees Hall gets traded.
Brees Hall to the Chiefs, dude.
That's what I've talked. That's exactly what I have in the show doc. That's my favorite call.
And the great thing about it, the great thing for the Jets is that everyone saw the Eagles go get Saquon Barkley and then win the Super Bowl, which that should give Brees Hall more trade value than running backs historically have had. Like you got opportunity to go get a real guy here, like a real dude.
He's got the potential to be like the Jamal Charles or the Priest Holmes in Andy Reid's system, like that.
Brian Westbrook, like he's had so many great LaShawn McCoy. He's had so many.
Talking about it, you guys won't see where either one of my hands are now. You won't see them. They'll stay under the table.
The fingerless gloves are off. Do you think Scary Terry's back this week, Rod? We don't know on that one. With the Thursday show when we do the start sits, that's where we really start saying, okay, here's what we're hearing. Here are the odds. We don't even know if Njoku or DJ Moore are okay. Let alone what Scary Terry's practice schedule is going to be like this week. I don't think it's completely bye-bye for Hollywood. It is for me. Worthy isn't completely healthy. Yeah. All right. Should I drop Haskins and handcuff possibly Bam Knight, Arby's or Scatabo, Tracy, Algier, Gainwell? Yeah, I think I would rather have Bam Knight than Haskins right now. Brian Branch going to sit out a little game with his anger issues. That was very stupid of him. He was frustrated. He's hurt. He's hurt and he's frustrated. So you can let him rest up and get healthy. 1 year rental on Brees. I mean, that's the thing about doing those trades, because like anyone that trades for Brees Hall, even if you don't sign him, you'll get a compensatory pick back. Like you'll get back whatever pick.
Yeah, you'll get value.
If you give a fourth round pick for Brees Hall and then you don't sign him, you'll probably get a fourth round comp pick back. Right? Fourth or fifth at least. Someone's going to pay Brees Hall. Right? So I mean, it's kind of like it's a wash, man.
Chris, I hope JFK is not too cold inside for you to do that streaking.
Yeah, for waivers half PPR. Drop Kelsey for Fannin Jr. AJ Barton. No, I'm holding on to Kelsey. Don't do that. Definitely not for AJ Barton. Who's taking Puka's place? Yes, it'll be a combination of Whittington and Atwell. Higbee, I mean, he's never been a guy that we like. I consistently challenge people to show me a Tyler Higbee highlight. Nobody's ever sent me one. He's just a guy. You know what I mean? Yeah. But he will get more targets, and he'll be. You can file Tyler Higbee right where we kind of keep Cade Otton if Puka's out, where it's like if you need him, he'll probably get 4 or 5 targets and have 40 yards or so. So like. That's where he goes for me. He's not a long-term play. Whittington would be an interesting stash if Puka and Atwell are out. I mean, sorry, not a stash, a stream. Here's where I'm at with wide receivers this week. It's still Alec Iamenar with the Ridley injury and the trade rumors. He's still the guy I'm trying to hold on to. Top stream, once again, third week in a row is probably going to be Kendrick Bourne, right? Like the way things are going for him. And Kittle probably gonna be back. Who knows with Pearsall, but Jennings got the rib issue. I could see Jennings ended up being the part-time guy, Bender, like he used to always be, where they say, okay, for 2 wide receiver sets, we're gonna go with Pearsall and Bourne for now, and we'll bring you in for obvious pass downs. That could easily be the case there. I also like holding on to in deep leagues Isaiah Bond where I can. He just played 71 snaps and ran 58 routes. He's gotten at least 5 targets in all 3 of his games since Cedric Tillman went out. If Njoku's out too, that doesn't just all go to Fannin. It probably goes to Judy and Isaiah Bond and Njoku. So that's a guy I'm trying to hang on to. For streamers, it's Bourne is number 1. Whittington's on the radar. Bender, what do you think about this? Are you going here at all? Josh Reynolds.
I mean, you kind of have to look at Josh Reynolds, don't you? I mean, you're talking about multiple week absence for Garrett Wilson. That's definitely problematic there. Mason Taylor can't get all the targets. So, Josh Reynolds definitely there. I think the more important question, not so much really like which Jet is going to get it. I think the real question is who on Tampa Bay do you want? They're going up against, they're in Detroit this week. That's a big game for them. That is a big, big game. Baker's been playing real well. Godwin's already been ruled out. It doesn't look like they're going to get Evans back. They're also probably Godwin was ruled out. Egbuka's, going for more tests, and Evans isn't coming back. Where are you going with Tampa Bay? Because that's a team. They also don't have Bucky Irving. Who's getting the football there besides Cade Otton?
Yeah, and it looks like what happened here was they don't want Sterling Shepard doing any more than playing slot. Like they didn't elevate him this week at least, maybe next week.
But they didn't elevate the slot. I don't even think he played last week.
He did. He was out there, but they actually.
Where was he? I didn't see him.
He was just kind of.
I didn't see him. I had him in my DFS lineups. I got nothing.
They leapfrogged him. So they leapfrogged him, and actually, so Tez Johnson played a fairly full-time role, and then Cameron Johnson came in after the injury and ended up playing more snaps on the game than Sterling Shepard. They also used Payne Durham a little more, so I do think it's probably Tez Johnson as your number 1 streamer, and maybe Cameron Johnson in really deep leagues. Sterling Shepard he didn't get the call, man, which is a shame. So yeah, that's how we're viewing that. Stashes, same names. Like the way we do stashes are we find situations that could turn into something if things, kind of break right. Like Travis Hunter, I'm happy to, I know he hasn't been producing, but I'm happy to have him where I have him because he played a full snap share finally, and things are kind of turning in his direction. Got 7 targets, right? We look at Jalen Coker. He could come in and kind of be the second target across from Tet. All these other guys have been brutally bad and hurt. Luther Burden the third. Best Viking name in all. He should be on the Vikings. Luther Burden the third. If DJ Moore is out, he immediately gets that role. But every time he goes out there, he's making a play. And those are the guys we want to put out there. Like rookie Amon-Ra St. Brown, when he started out, he would play like a 50-60% snap share, but he'd come in and he'd catch four passes, right? He'd come in and he would get 5 targets. But then he was only in a part-time role. By week 11, now he's playing. Guys are getting hurt. They changed the play caller. Now he's playing 80-90% of the snaps. He's getting 10 targets every game. Like that could be Luther Burden if things break right. And then Torrey Horton is a guy that we just look at. Cooper Kupp being inefficient. We just look at JSN. If JSN were to go down, obviously that offense would be worse, but he would be jumping into a full-time role that, has been obviously super conducive to fantasy production. So that's kind of what we're doing from a stash front. We're looking at it and saying, what could change? Who's at least got some talent? It's usually always rookies, right? So that's the crew there. Anybody I missed? There's tons of different options out there.
Yeah, guys, I like the fact that you mentioned Jalen Coker because he's going up against the Jets, and that means Tet McMillan is going to be getting the Sauce Gardner treatment, which could open Coker up for a little bit more. Xavier Legette also could be a streamer. We mentioned Michael Wilson if Marvin Harrison Jr. is out. I think that's a good way to do. And you can also stream in Alec Pierce, I think, going up against the Chargers.
Yep. Alec Pierce is always on the streaming radar because, at a certain point, you're just looking for upside and we don't care about floor. And Alec Pierce's role is conducive to big plays, So like 1 60-yard touchdown is all you need in this world. And Alec Pierce can do that in any given game. because he plays so many snaps. It's just his role is not. He's just trying to get behind people. Let's see. Waivers, pick up Dart and drop Goff. Also have Baker, which makes that an interesting one. Like, do you want two of those kind of Goff Baker safe kind of guys, or do you want to go upside with the Dartster?
I mean, the question is that, look at the Giants' schedule coming up. Like the Giants' schedule for Jackson Dart. I mean, you have to understand that. The Broncos this week is that. I have zero interest in Dart. That he's got the Eagles again, which was good. Niners, Bears, Packers, Lions, Patriots. The question really is, when is Tampa Bay's bye week? And who would, and like that's the thing, because you're going to want to start.
Tampa Bay's bye week is 9. Tampa Bay's bye week it's 9. Tampa Bay. So Goff has bye week 8. Tampa has bye week 9. So if your team was Goff and Dart, you would be starting Dart against the Eagles. Yeah, it looks like you'd be starting Dart against San Francisco if you drop Goff for him, or you'd be starting Goff against
Minnesota at home.
Yeah, you probably just stick with what you got.
Yeah, I don't really. That's the thing. I just don't really understand. I don't understand the move. Like that's like, are you improving your team?
You're giving yourself a shot at upside because of how much Dart is willing to run. That's Right. If Dart was running twice a game, no one would want him.
But are you ever going to start Dart over Baker Mayfield?
Possibly down the stretch, maybe. Not anytime soon because of the matchups. So probably not. And you'd probably start Goff this week. The implied point total for the Lions is like 29 points, and Baker doesn't have any of his wide receivers. So you're probably starting Goff this week, right?
Against Tampa Bay and that horrendous secondary. Yeah.
I have Goff ranked. I'm going to have Goff ranked higher than both Baker and Dart this week. Yeah. I know Baker's been awesome, and he's probably one of the most fun guys to watch right now, but like, you take away that many weapons in a game against the Lions, it's going to be tough. That's going to be tough. Starting Dimes, Genty, Dowdle, Tet, Pickens, Nico, bench Travion. Fred, I don't know what the rest of the question is. Oh, which players should I trade in order to upgrade? I usually do trades tomorrow, brother. Jump in tomorrow with that.
Anybody's tradable. What you want to do is you want to look at your team and you want to say, all right, this guy I don't want to get rid of. Like I don't know what he had. If you go backwards,
I'm not trading Genty. I'm not trading.
Yeah, I'm not trading Genty. I'm probably not trading Pickens or McMillan. I'm definitely not trading Nico.
No.
Everybody else there, Dimes, Dowdle, Krosky Merritt.
Yeah.
All of them. Very tradable players.
Right.
Very tradable players. You just have to package up 2 for 1 and just make sure that you're getting a significant upgrade at one of those positions.
Yeah, for sure. We already hit on this. Barner is a dog, but all his yards can't play. Yeah. That's the problem with Barner, is that it's just he's not a super. If he was more athletic, we'd be much more excited about him, but he's not, and he's rotating. Is it Reynolds time in New York? We hit on that one.
Might be.
What's a unit? Oh, unit is in gambling. If you take gambling seriously, then you kind of have a set base bet for you. And it's based on what you can afford, your own bankroll. Some people it's $5, some people it's $10, some people it's 20, 25, 50, 100, whatever it is. And basically your base bet is 1 unit. So if you like a play, then it's a 1 unit bet is $10 for you. If you really like a play, you say, oh, I'm putting 2 units on it, and you're putting $20 on it. It's just a way to communicate your bets. And also, once upon a time, when you had to talk to your bookie, you didn't want to say certain things. So that's kind of how you handle that. Got May and Lamar. So far, nobody biting on QB trades. Drop Jackson Dart once Lamar is back, or hold on in hopes I can make a deal. If you're holding 3 QBs in a single QB league, I kind of just take any deal. If I can get anyone that's going to start for me, I just take it, even if I feel like I might be getting a little ripped off because you got too many guys. Just try and get somebody that's going to help you, because those guys, having 2 QBs on your bench isn't helping you. It's not. Guys, I'm bummed. Scored the most points I've ever scored and lost. Yeah. Ain't that it, Death Wish, man? Ain't that fantasy football?
2 weeks in a row for me. Second highest point total, and I've lost the second game in a row.
That's what happens, man. I mean, I've lost
Back-to-back weeks. It's the way it goes.
Yeah, man. It's like sometimes you got full house and you lose to Royal Flush.
Sometimes you lose to quads.
Sometimes you win with twos. I think one of my leagues I won with like 70 points.
Sometimes you win with nothing.
There are twos, dude. Yeah.
Sometimes you win with Josh Reynolds.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think that 5-1 team I was bragging about earlier, I think I just barely won against a team that scored the second fewest points. So Rashi Rice is back. Eat it.
Take those wins any way you can.
I'll take them. Yeah. I don't care. Mason and Dobbins is RB2 this week. Well, we're still.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe.
Dobbins still. We still got to comb that data. We're doing waivers right now. Tez or Bird and waiver pickup. I'm going with unless you're putting Tez directly in your lineup, it's Luther Bird.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Kendra does have standalone value. PPR, would you drop Haskins? Should have taken Vidal and Spears, or do you think Tootin is droppable? Would you rather have? Oh, that's a good question. Tootin or Haskins?
I think I would rather have Tootin because you're looking at listen, Joe Alt, Rashawn Slater, Trey Pipkins, they're all out. I mean, the team is down 3 offensive linemen, right? So by the time those guys get healthy and Haskins comes around to carving out a little bit bigger of a role for himself, Omarion Hampton's back. Like, I know that they've said that Omarion Hampton, could be out longer than expected, right? So this is the first week that he's been out, could be out for another 3 weeks. You look at that schedule for the Chargers. Like I said, Indianapolis coming up next. Then they've got Minnesota. Those are tough matchups for the running game. So I don't know. I'd be okay dropping Haskins to add Spears. I'd be okay hanging on to Tootin as well.
Yeah. For sure. Part of me still sits there and looks at the name Christian Watson and says, what if? I know it's stupid, but.
What if Matthew Golden looks as good as he did, huh?
What if they could just trade some guys away and then just use a couple guys instead? That'd be real nice. Let's just hit on quarterback and tight end quick, and then we can just focus on questions here. So at quarterback, no real run out and have to get him guy. Jackson Dart is probably still the guy to stash and to add because of his mobile upside. If you need streamers this week, there's definitely some options. Trevor Lawrence versus the Rams. Old reliable streamer that's been bailing me out a lot of these weeks has been Sam Darnold. I mean, at a certain point, we got to just admit that this guy's probably pretty good. I know, Bender, in your video, you mentioned that.
It's crazy how everybody's running this dude down.
MVP votes last year. Now he's coming out and he's supporting another. Like, he basically, look, I'll say it. He basically is doing for JSN what he did for Justin Jefferson last year. Yep. Mm-hmm. And we said it in 2023. We sat here on these microphones and we told you, yes, right now, Jackson Smith-Njigba is behind Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, but he is on the Chris Godwin trajectory. We said it into these mics. And sure enough, Chris Godwin in his 3rd year was the wide receiver 2 in all of fantasy football. And right now, JSN is the wide receiver 2 in all of fantasy football. You got to be patient in your dynasty leagues. That goes for guys like Luther Burden. It goes for anybody that doesn't have a full-time role. CD Lamb as a rookie didn't have a full-time role. CD Lamb did not have a full-time role because they had Michael Gallup.
But Coop.
Right? If he's good, he'd be good. No, dude. It's the guy, 20. Some of these guys are 21 years old. So you got to give him a shot. Other streamers, Howard's going to say no, but I'm telling you the answer is maybe with Aaron Rodgers and the Old Man Bowl.
Oh, yeah, going up against Cincinnati? Absolutely.
You consider that. Okay, good.
I mean, I would consider Aaron Rodgers, and if you're going to pair him up with somebody, you pair him up with DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, good luck picking which tight end is going to be targeted the most, right? Did you see Darnell Washington chugging down the field on that first pass from scrimmage?
I'm telling you right now, I feel a cold coming on. I think I might have to call out of the Thursday Sirius XM show. Sorry, I'm not going to be there for that one. Too many. That's going to be too hard of a DFS slate for me.
Oh, dude, I'm locking that down. I'm making Aaron Rodgers my captain.
Well, someone else has to do that one. I can't handle it because, dude, do you know how many routes Connor Hayward ran? One touchdown.
He got a
Dude, that's
touchdown.
so stupid, bro. That is the worst team. Darnell Washington. Darnell Washington is like the most cartoonish looking player in the league. He looks like Night Train Lane out there, just like top heavy. Like you know those old pictures where his shoulder pads are like this big. Like I don't know what they're doing, man. Fryermuth barely even played. I hate it. The only other stash that if you have an IR spot deep league, maybe JJ McCarthy. I mean, they still have Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and TJ Hawkinson. They're gonna get back Aaron Jones. Again, if you're talking about like deeper leagues, just to see maybe, but like not a guy you have to hold on to.
I would say if he's available, because I know he's available in like 50 or 60% of leagues over on ESPN. If CJ Stroud is out there, that might be a pretty good stream coming off the bye week in Seattle while their secondary is all banged up right now.
Right, he had a great game, obviously against Baltimore. Yeah, the secondary for Seattle is rough. That's right. A tight end's difficult to parse through. Keep an eye out for David Njoku news. That would move Harold Fannin. If Njoku were to go on IR, that would move Fannin up. I've seen people saying everything from hyperextended knee to just a bruised thigh. Like, so I don't even know. But sometimes these thigh bruises can be crazy too. Like Rob Gronkowski was talking about one he had that's like disgusting. So I don't know. But keep an eye on Njoku news. Njoku news and DJ Moore news could move up Burden and Fannin. And if that happens, I will re-update my article and I will tweet it out again and I'll post it in the Discord. The second ad for me is still going to be Mason Taylor just because he played a ton. He ran a bunch of routes. It wasn't a terrible matchup because they couldn't move the ball, but now Garrett Wilson's out, right? Streamers are kind of the same guys. Cade Otton is an interesting streamer this week because guys are hurt and the Lions run a ton of man-to-man. That's allowed tight ends to score touchdowns against them. You saw Mark Andrews have the big game. You saw Travis Kelce do pretty good. So Otton could be okay. Chigakonkwo has a good matchup versus New England. I don't like his snaps are trending down, but he's kind of being used more in the pass game with Gunnar Helm playing. It's really not a great situation, but he's a streamer. Our stashes are Theo Johnson still. Can't start Theo Johnson this week. He had a bad matchup against the Eagles. We told you not to start him. He's got a bad matchup again. Who are the Giants playing?
Denver,
yeah.
Evan Eagles revenge game narrative.
So I was telling people not to. Theo Johnson, it was only a stash because Eagles are the best team in the league versus tight end. And his schedule went Eagles, Broncos, Eagles again, and then 49ers, who would have had Fred Warner, but now he's out for the year. So like Theo Johnson, really bad schedule, but he's a stash. Isaiah Likely is a stash in case Mark Andrews gets traded. Then just to wrap it up with the tight end with the waiver ads, Michael Badgley available in a ton of leagues. Whoever the kick, Howard, you called it, dude. Whoever the kicker for the Colts is going to be good. And then Eddie Pinheiro is like the best kicker in all of football. I don't know what is going on with him. 15 of 15, 4 field goals in back-to-back weeks. So Eddie Pinheiro is out there too. For streams, check and see if someone dropped the Patriots when they went against the Bills. They get the Titans this week, probably like top 5 matchup easily. Browns versus Miami, Bears versus New Orleans. You just target the bad teams otherwise with your streams for that. Anybody else for that jumps? Kicker takes?
No, that pretty much covers it.
Maybe keep an eye on Brandon McManus, see if he's back. Tampa Bay wide receiver is Ted Johnson. Houston D over Cleveland. I thought about that one. Houston is rostered still in a lot of leagues, though. Houston's got Seattle. And Cleveland has the Dolphins. What do you think, Bender?
I mean, which defense do I like? I mean,
Cleveland, right?
I don't mind just locking down Cleveland. Like I'm not, it depends on your scoring. It definitely depends on your league scoring here. Like if you're scoring, if your league scores for like, bonus points for like yardage limitations or scoring limitations. If like you're getting, because I went around and around with a guy who was like Green Bay defense versus Denver defense. Which one should I use? and Green Bay had a much easier matchup here against Cincinnati, and but then all of a sudden he showed me what the scoring breakdown was, and it was like the Denver defense scored like 41 points for on his bench. And I'm like, well, what is that? You're scoring for tackles, you're scoring for half point tackle. I mean, like all of a sudden here, how does your defense come up with 41 points? So
That's
it does
crazy
depend on your scoring, and I would look at it in that fashion. Because Houston against Seattle, who's Cleveland have this week? They've got Miami. So I would probably just stick with Cleveland here because that defense is going to destroy Tua.
Yeah, same with this one. The Chiefs are 13-point favorites against the Raiders, and they have a good defense. Panthers are, the Panthers aren't a good defense. Yes, Ryan, agree. Straight trash this week. All right, let's get on up and out of here.
We got some questions. We got to wrap things up here, but I want to make sure that we take care of those who have paid. How about that? That makes sense, right?
Perfect. Let's do that. Okay, Mojo. Is it worth keeping Kenneth Gainwell as a stash in standard leagues? Not the best standard league stash. If you could go for like Algier, he's a PPR streamer, not a good standard league stash really. I would go for more like if you're looking for pure handcuffs, Brian Robinson or Blake Corum. Depends who's out there, Mojo. Let us know who's in there. Do we have any other member questions?
Yeah, there was a question from Rod Elliott just before that with his 3 tight ends. Says he's got 3 tight ends. Who should I drop? Pitts, Taylor, and Njoku?
Yeah, I'm not going to drop Pitts. It's either Taylor or Njoku. It might have to be Njoku based on.
I'm not dropping Taylor. Yeah, I'm definitely dropping Njoku here.
Yeah, drop Njoku. Can't drop Taylor now with Garrett Wilson out. And then the last one is Mojo's question. Again, if you guys want to make sure your questions get answered, hit join over there. And become a member, and then we prioritize those and make sure you get taken care of. Thoughts if Chiefs pick up Alvin Kamara? I don't think they're interested in trading Kamara, unfortunately. I would love for him to get traded, but they've talked a lot about them wanting him to retire as a Saint, and they paid him money last year. I don't know if they're really interested in moving him. Time to give up on Christian Kirk. What do you think, Bender?
I mean, if you're gonna grab somebody who's gonna start, or if you're good, I mean, again, it just depends on who you're dropping, Rod. Yeah. It always depends on who you're dropping.
Guys like Tez, I pretty much only pick him up if I'm going to start him this week.
Yeah,
because he's got a bye coming up. Guys are coming back. Rod says I have to drop one for an ad. Jaden Blue, Brian Robinson, Brashad Smith.
If you're dropping one of those guys there, then Brashard Smith is probably the guy I'm dropping.
Yeah. Being offered Waller for Goddard. I don't want to part ways with Goddard. I mean, Waller has more upside. Goddard's more reliable. Why are they offering you that? That's a very weird move.
Because people don't believe that Darren Waller is going to stay healthy.
I would rather have Waller personally. So I would take the Waller side.
Me too.
Last one here from Helium. Somebody offered me Barkley and Hunter for Jacobs. No way I do that, right?
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I'm probably just going to stick with Jacobs, man. All right, that's it for us. We will be back tomorrow hitting on DFS, hitting on all your trade questions. Thursday, we'll be back with the start sits. Friday, I got a little guest, and then guess what? We're right back in it on the weekend. So thank all of you guys for hanging out with us. Howard Bender, thank you so much for popping in. Hit that like and subscribe button on the way out so you don't miss any of these shows moving forward. Until tomorrow at 1 p.m., we are out.
Adios, turd nuggets.